RCWR Show dropping November 25th, 2019. What is going on, guys? Lee Sanders here. A couple of days away from the Thanksgiving holiday. I hope you guys are ready. And if you're not ready, hopefully you're getting ready. If you're going to be traveling, do have a lot of patience out there on the roads, man. Honestly, if you can help it, if you don't have to be on the road, then don't be on the road. Hey, look, not that much to talk about because not for nothing, but I'm just recapping what all that we did, like leading up to tonight. We did the 2-hour season 2 finale of WoW Women of Wrestling. We covered NXT TakeOver War Games. We covered Survivor Series. And now here we are tonight covering, wait a minute, there was a bonus episode. We reviewed the Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull sessions with The Undertaker. And I mean, my God, if you saw the review, you know how much praise I had gave it, how much I had put that over. And I do want to take the time out to thank the many of you that did check out the web stream version of that we made available on YouTube. I also made a free-for-all audio version available on our Patreon page, available for everybody to download and check out. You don't need to subscribe to the Patreon page for that particular episode. It was free to download. I do appreciate the many of you that had checked out the webcast version. I saw that's been picking up a lot of traction throughout the day since it initially was released and everything. And now everything culminates in tonight. So we have a little bit of a breather one day, but we're going to be coming right back one more time. I was going to take Wednesday off, but I figured new AEW, new NXT, what the hell. Not to mention, we also got a couple of sponsors. I almost have forgot about that. We got to promote on that Wednesday show, but everybody knows we're pretty much going to be taking the rest of the week off after Wednesday. So not much to talk about as far as coverage goes. So this is going to be in regards to how I said the show is going to be going from here on out. Remember the announcement I made, I think last week or 2 weeks ago? I said we were going to do about an hour 15 minutes strong. You know, if we can do it less than that, that's great. But an hour 15 minutes, whatever we don't cover, we'll get into it on Wednesday, since that's the more longer show and everything. So look, Monday Night Raw tonight, once again out there in the Chicago area. And I gotta tell you, this was an interesting episode as far as storyline development, character placement. That's what really jumps out at me as far as tonight's Monday Night Raw goes. And I mean, you really got to start right there with the very top, which is with Seth Rollins opening up the show, having the entire WWE RAW locker room surrounding the ring and pretty much bashing the hell out of them, talking about how they had dropped the ball, how they all got owned by NXT at Survivor Series on Sunday. And as far as he was concerned, it was unacceptable. And just the way that he blamed the crowd, the fans, and the crowd, I should say, laid it heavy into him. And then it was almost kind of like after the fact, once he's starting to get the boos and the heckling from the fans, you know, hey, I dropped the ball too. We all did. It's like, well, no, man, you're being so sharp at the tongue, and you talking about how people failed and they sucked, but you don't say you sucked as well. You dare not say that about yourself, right? So I kind of like how that was going on. We saw basically a arrogant heel Seth Rollins here returning, so to speak. And I gotta tell you, at this point, to WWE's credit, they have tried everything they could. From the multiple times that this man had championship opportunities, the multiple times that he faced Brock Lesnar and everything, this man has had opportunity after opportunity after opportunity. And look, I was on this show and I had said, look, maybe the answer lies in turning him heel again. And maybe this go round, not for nothing, maybe he can actually do a better job as a heel as opposed to the last go round. Because remember, the last go round, he was a heel. He was part of that whole authority cloth there, right? It was basically a supporting cast that was carrying his ass when it's all said and done. And I would like to believe that when his tenure with WWE is over and he makes the rounds doing the shoot interviews and all that, I wouldn't be surprised if he honestly, candidly had said, yeah, did I kind of feel as though it was a supporting cast that I was really leaning on when I was a heel guy there with the Authority and everything culminated in a championship run. Yeah, you could definitely say that, yeah, I did rely on him heavily. Take your pick. J&J Security, Stephanie, Triple H. I mean, those were his supporting actors. Those were his supporting cast members that was carrying the hell out of his workload. So to see what he can kind of do this go round as a potential heel, I am down for it. I mean, at this point, WWE has tried everything. They have tried everything and then some, right down to the point. You remember there used to be a time where Seth Rollins, as a face, as long as he's been a face, he's just been coming out there. He's been pushing his in-ring gear. He's been pushing his merchandise, his burn it down merchandise or whatever. The architect, whatever. Rebuild, redesign, reclaim, whatever he's pushing, right? I know I said that out of order, but you get the gist. Whatever he's been pushing, he's basically been pushing. And it's interesting how we've now gotten to that point where, okay, well, never before has Seth Rollins tried to play up to the crowd. Never before has he tried to go for the Mick Foley cheap pop. Oh, it's great to be back here in Chi-Town. Yeah, we've not that he did that tonight, but he was doing the next best thing, which was he was wearing Chicago Bulls inspired colors. He was wearing number 23 of the great Michael Jordan. So, never before in the previous years compared to what we've been getting from Seth Rollins, I would say about the past 15 months or so. I mean, maybe a little tiny less than that, but let's just say 15 months just to stay a little bit firm. We've never seen this version of Seth Rollins that is going with the cheap pops, trying to mention the cities, wearing some type of a city theme in order to connect more with the crowd, trying to work the crowd up, get them into it, dropping their name and all of that other stuff, mentioning their hometown heroes, all of that other jazz. And it's like, wow, it's like anybody else that you see, you're kind of going, oh, okay, all right, cool, nice, whatever. You see Cena do it, okay, whatever, nice. Mick Foley, okay, whatever, nice. Dean Ambrose, Roman, whatever. But with Seth, it just feels so, what's the right word I'm looking for? Forced is too strong of a word, but maybe we could kind of say it seems out of place. It seems not in the norm, I guess is the best terminology we could kind of use it, but it doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel as though, oh yeah, this is definitely gonna, hey guys, what's, like a sincerity to it, I guess is where I'm really kind of getting at. And so everything has been thrown on the wall, trying to see what sticks. Nothing has been sticking. And, if you ask me straight up, well, Lee, at any time did WWE have Seth Rollins in the right place where he was finally going to be able to go over with a majority of the WWE fans? In your estimation, was there ever a time where he finally came so close to getting over that threshold, right? I would say to you, yes, there was actually a moment. And that moment was earlier this year. The moment had came with that one intergender match where it was Seth Rollins teaming up with Becky Lynch, taking on Baron Corbin, Lacey Evans. And remember, if Seth and Becky had lost, then Baron and Lacey would become the new respected heavyweight champions. Remember that? And remember when Baron Corbin had did the end of days on freaking Becky Lynch? And you just see the way Baron had sold the hell out of that. And then you see how Seth just freaking, it kind of seemed like if there was ever that opportunity, that would be that one spot in WWE history for 2019 that I could easily go back and look at and say, I could even make the same argument for Baron Corbin. I could say that really should have been the moment for Baron Corbin to take him to that next level. And I could look at Seth Rollins and say that particular moment, that should have taken Seth to that next level as well, right? And sadly, as you see with both men currently, a little bit lackluster, a little bit of a stalemate, so to speak, right? So for me, that was the moment where if you had an opportunity and then it slipped away, and it didn't help having Seth Rollins be aligned with Becky Lynch. I would say that was very, very detrimental. I think that was a significant blow to the Seth Rollins character development, I personally feel. And it also had hurt the Becky Lynch character as well, to a certain degree, and the Becky Lynch character, the way that the Becky Lynch character was built up until she crossed paths with Seth Rollins and you had that whole story arc thing go down and everything. Here's this strong, feisty, red-haired woman that, is coming off, I need no man because I am the man. Everything that I want to accomplish in life, I'm able to do it. I'm able to do it on my terms. She kind of came off with that significant bravado to the point, what can a man do for me? It's kind of how everything was going about her and everything. So now you add a Seth Rollins into the mix, right? And it just hurt both of them, especially after Rollins was riding off of the waves of supposedly being the Beast Slayer and everything, of conquering Brock Lesnar and getting back the Universal Championship and all that. So it's been a really interesting year as far as Seth Rollins goes and his development and his placement on the card and everything, the storylines he's been involved in. So to see it get to this point where we're now seeing an arrogant Seth Rollins returning, you can look at it a couple of different ways. The first way you can look at it is, well, all else failed. Let's try this. The other way you can look at it is, oh, thank you, Gino. Gino, I appreciate that super chat. Gino coming in with the $20 super chat. If you guys would like to do any super chat donations as well, you can definitely chime on in. If you want to get the type of super chat I just did for Gino, though, that's got to be like, you got to do like at least $5 and up. You do $5 and up, you'll get your super chat. I'm trying to do the Tony Chimmel there. I could do it longer and hold a higher note. Gino, thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. And I hope you have a very good Thanksgiving as well, my friend. If you're going to be traveling, do travel safe. And that's for everybody. I'm feeling pretty extra good tonight, but I don't think I can do the Tony Chimmel and hold that high note like I normally do. I've got me some red wine. No, I'm not tipsy yet, but I am feeling a little lightheaded. This is only this is how much I've been working with. So actually, no, it was actually a tiny little bit up here. You guys on the demand and on the downloads, you won't be able to see, but the webcast people, they can see. It started off about right here, guys. And as you can see, it's kind of gone down a little bit. No, I will not be doing a refill. I'm having a nightcap while kicking back, talking with you guys. I actually have work in the morning, so I got to go in Tuesday, full day, and then Wednesday, I get a half day, and then our office is closed for the rest of the week, so I get to enjoy the Thanksgiving holiday break, like many of you guys out there. And if you are working, man, if you're working this holiday weekend, you got my utmost respect. I know it's not easy. I know it is not easy, especially for you guys that work in retail, seriously. But yeah, so you got that one situation with Seth Rollins. You tried everything else. This is the way you're going to have to go. And then the other thing, you got to look at is, okay, well, it's really time to shake things up. If there was ever a time right now where Raw really needs a main antagonist, and, it feels as though, Seth is better suited for being in that role, so to speak. And to see, really stop and think about this too. I don't know if it really dawned on many of you, but in essence, we kind of have Dave Meltzer to thank for what's currently happening with Seth Rollins. Allow me to expand on that thought. Remember a couple of weeks ago with the whole Saudi Arabia thing, Crown Jewel and all that, right? Everything that was going on with the whole, chopper and get to the chopper now. We need to get out of here. They're going to kill us. They're going to kill us. Oh, get to the chopper. Get the chopper now. And, we heard that, conspiracy theories and all that other stuff that was going on. But it was what happened after that talent came back to the U.S. soil and everything. There was that whole meeting that went down. And Dave Meltzer, according to his respected sources, had said that Seth Rollins has stepped up to the plate and, he was acting like a locker room leader and everything. And he was trying to rally up the morale of the WWE fans and all this other jazz and all that. And Seth Rollins had rebuked it. He's like, that's not what happened. I don't know where you got your sources from, but that's not what happened. And Seth would later give an interview. I don't know if it was that same day that Meltzer broke out that story or if it was a day or two later, but I know it was definitely that week. And Rollins had actually reached out to Sean Ross Sapp from Fightful and here's what had went down, and he clarified, no, I did not give a raw speech. I was not acting like a locker room leader in any type of way. He gave the skinny on what had went down. And Meltzer was so apologetic to Rollins and to WWE that he immediately, issued a apology release, and he pretty much had said, okay, look, I will double down and make sure I'm more what's the right word I'm looking for? Basically, he was going to make sure that from here on out, he triple checked his sources and making sure everything was on point and that he could actually, in fact, report this and everything as fact, based on what he was hearing and everything. And we see how that's kind of worked out for him so far, given the whole Corey Graves, Mauro Ranallo situation and all that. And I'll touch a little bit upon that in a hot second, but you kind of look at how Meltzer had said how Seth Rollins was acting in that meeting, according to his respected sources. And as you're reading this, you're kind of going, wow, this Seth kind of seems a bit arrogant. He seems like a douchebag. He seems kind of, who died and made him king? What the hell? So when I say, in essence, you kind of have Dave Meltzer to thank for what's currently going on with Seth Rollins, now you kind of see what I'm talking about there. So I wonder if anybody has brought that to his attention yet. I'm most curious what he thinks, right? If he's going to give himself a pat on the back for that. I mean, I'll give him the nod because it kind of seems like, all the other times, all of a sudden, conveniently, less than a month later, this is the direction that Seth Rollins is going now. So I love seeing Rollins trying to have this whole town hall meeting, telling the roster, if you want to air out your grievances, come on, step up to the plate. Calls out Charlotte Flair, throws a diss at her, she walks out. Rey Mysterio, same thing. Who else was in there that AOP? He's like, hey, AOP, y'all be talking these great hot mess in your vignettes and everything, talking about why you had came to Raw, yada yada yada. Where were you Sunday when we needed you the most? AOP walking away. So pretty much the entire roster. Randy Orton, he even called out Randy Orton. Randy Orton even walking out on Seth Rollins. Everybody essentially walked out on Seth Rollins except for Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins having a field day with him and everything, and the whole stunner that's setting up the main event match for the night, as Rollins had challenged KO to a match, trying to seek some type of retribution there. Closing moments of that match, we actually saw the Authors of Pain interfere in this match, and I must have missed it because I didn't hear anything about this match was supposed to be a no disqualification or whatever. So while the referee is just looking at AOP, kind of wonder, what do I do? What do I do? And and AOP just goes in there and they're attacking. It was interesting how they had that whole thing set up. Because you're looking and going, all right, so who are they going to attack here? Are they going to attack Seth Rollins, or are they going to attack Kevin Owens? And is this going to create some type of a situation where, depending on who they're able to get their hands on first, preferably Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins is just going to walk out on KO and allow him to continue to get beat up by AOP? Like, how is this going to play out? And we would soon get our answer as AOP does the beating and the hurting on Kevin Owens. Seth Rollins is looking on. At one point, it looks like he just totally disappeared or whatever, but they're doing their work on him. They look at Seth Rollins just when it looks as though they're going to attack this guy. They actually roll out, and Seth Rollins delivers an insult to KO by giving him the curb stomp and everything. So you got your $1 million question of the week there, which is, why did AOP spare Seth Rollins, right? Like why? That is a very, very interesting dynamic right there, because he called them out for not coming in during this whole Survivor Series ordeal, right? Each brand, right? NXT, SmackDown, Raw, all of these brands facing each other for brand supremacy. And when they needed help the most, AOP was nowhere to be found. Okay, so why is it that AOP feels as though they had needed to kind of do a nod to Rollins tonight? So that right there, I'm most intrigued with, right? That is that carrot dangling over my head. And I'm sure many of you all's fans, as you're wanting to see, okay, so this is how you're going to reintroduce AOP this go round. Okay, fine with that. Let's see where this develops. Speaking about AOP, want to touch upon them one more time. On top of that whole town hall meeting, what they did in the main event match, they also had a match against freaking Hawkins and Ryder. And, it wasn't really a squash match, but it was a squash match. What do I mean by that? The match didn't end in 30 seconds, but the match damn sure didn't make it to 10 minutes. Okay, so, take it how you want it. I think if anything, that match at most was probably about 5 minutes, maybe about 7 minutes, give or take. I could be wrong about that, but it was definitely a short match. They looked pretty good. I mean, look, I don't know if they ever had their in-ring gear off when they were down in NXT. I watched them a decent amount of times in NXT when they were paired up with Paul Ellering, but as far as I can recall from what I saw, the times that I did see them with Ellering, they never had their armor off. So if they've always looked the way that they've looked physically, I'm glad that they are now without all of that body armor stuff, because they look to be in pretty good shape. And I'll actually go a step further. Both men actually look as though they have been hitting the gym, and they've been trying to do their best to tone down a bit, because both of them, to their credit, they have slimmed down just a tiny bit. They've added more bulk. They look to be a tad bit more cut, right? They've definitely taken off a little bit more body fat, and whichever one has the more baby face that doesn't look as intimidating, he has a big old baby face. Even though he's got the facial hair, he's got the big old baby face, and he just looks like he's just pouting sometimes. For me, if he could just have his facial hair connect, upper lip to the beard and all that, I think that might help him out a little bit more. But I know his face used to look a lot fuller, and right down to the point, it kind of looked as though he was starting to get a little bit of a double chin and all that. He looks to be in even better shape now than the last time that we saw him and the other guy in AOP. So they both look to be in great tip-top shape right now. So I was quite pleased with them and their resurgence and everything. We had a United States Championship match. The setup for that, we got to that point. We saw AJ Styles. He actually was supposed to have a match against Humberto Carrillo for this championship, but we saw Gallows, Anderson. They pretty much did a number on Humberto, and you're kind of seeing that. And I'm a stickler for detail, and what I mean by that is, I see everybody at the top of the show who was part of this whole town hall meeting, and freaking Street Profits was part of that. Now, the past couple of weeks, Street Profits have come to the aid of Humberto. You know, right down to the point, anything involving the OC, Street Profits have been there. So I thought it was kind of interesting that here's a case right here where the numbers game piles on to Humberto and Street Profits nowhere to be found. You know, right down to the point, to my knowledge, unless I missed it, they didn't even have a match tonight. So for me, that was just a little bit head scratching right there. You know, and it's kind of cleaned up a little bit because basically Humberto's, he's out of the equation. So AJ's under the impression, no championship defense tonight. Great. But then you get Drew McIntyre, you get Ricochet, you get Rey Mysterio. I'm missing another guy there. Hang on a second. We had Drew McIntyre, we had Rey Mysterio, we had Randy Orton. Randy Orton was the other guy that I was thinking about, and we had Ricochet. So those were your four guys. All of them jockeying for position, talking about how they should be the ones to face AJ Styles for the championship. So Ricochet came up with a solid idea. Let's have a fatal four-way. Winner takes on AJ Styles for the title later on tonight. How about it? And they all actually had agreed to it. Your winner of that ended up being Rey Mysterio. So Rey Mysterio would go on to face AJ Styles. Quick sidebar note. Look, McIntyre, Mysterio, Orton, hey man, love those guys. Got no problem with those guys. Ricochet looks good. He looks good. But man, we need something to happen with them promos, man. Something needs to happen with those promos. I need for those promos to come in a little bit more cleaner. And the less he talks, the better. You know, I know that the whole promo, it's never been his strongest suit. I get that. And the only way that you can get better is repetition and everything. But man, it was really, and I love Ricochet. Don't get me wrong. I love Ricochet. Was a fan of Hitman. I remember this dude over in Lucha Underground. Okay, so that's how far back I go as far as watching his work and everything. So I love the dude. He's talented as fuck, man. But yeah, man, I cringe. I cringe tonight. I never cringed so hard looking at the promo that he was cutting there, man. I wanted for somebody to get him a pack of cigarettes or something. Like I just needed him to come back with a deeper voice, you know, with a more, not a husky voice, a raspy voice or something. I really needed him to go in there and, yeah, that for me, I hope that improves in due time. I really, really do. Look, the AJ Styles match, with, Mysterio for the United States title, that was probably for me the match of the night, aside from just kind of thinking about the rest of the card here. And this isn't a full-blown recap. So, you know, unless it's something like, oh, but this was important. I'm going to just talk about key points because there's some other topics I want to get into. Because remember, we're only doing like an hour 15 minutes at most. Thinking about all of the matches that we had got tonight, I honestly would say other than the Charlotte Flair Asuka match, I'm going to give the nod to Mysterio and Styles. That was, for me, the match of the night. I could even go, you know what, for honorable mention, I could even go with the Fatal 4-Way to figure out who's going to be the number one contender. But watching AJ Styles and Rey Mysterio, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that on so many levels. You guys have no idea. You know, for me, for the longest period of time, that was like one of my dream matches, you know, so to be in a position where, you know, wow, you know, I get to see it, you know, whether this was their first time or not, locking it up in a WWE ring. I'm just happy that I can get to see two in-ring veterans, two of the best technicians, and when need be, they can do some high-flying stuff. For me, it was awesome to just kick back and watch these two guys go at it. I love that. I love that. That was definitely the match of the night. Rey Mysterio coming out on top of that, becoming your new United States champion. Dominic coming out, celebrating with him and everything. You know, look, good for Rey. Good for Rey. I mean, look, not for nothing, but when Rey Mysterio is healthy, that guy can give you some really good freaking matches. He can give you some really great story arcs as well. And I think that as far as when you look at WWE and you look at as far as honorable mentions of, hey, this was a decent program that came from WWE this year, the Rey Mysterio, Brock Lesnar, and really it was more so Mysterio that was carrying it when you really stop and think about it. I mean, look, no disrespect to Paul Heyman. I'm not throwing any shade at Paul Heyman. I love Paul Heyman. But Mysterio really, really had made that rivalry with Lesnar the most interesting, because how is Rey going to respond to this? Okay, so man, look at what Lesnar had did. I mean, how is Rey going to respond to this? Like, just the way everything was set up going into that Survivor Series match and all that, all the weeks leading up to that point and the finish to that and everything. I think Ray needs to get a lot of credit for that on a lot of different levels. So, for him to be in this position now where he's the United States champion, I'm okay with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. And then plus, it puts Rey Mysterio in a great position and opportunity where eventually he can face AJ Styles again. You could easily slide in Ricochet and everything like that. And I love it. And I got Sergio. Sergio's asking the questions there, so what's up with Brock Lesnar? Is Brock Lesnar, we talked about this Sunday night, and I really don't want to rehash because I'm telling you guys, you think I'm kidding. When we hit the hour 5-minute mark, I love you guys, but, brother got to get up for work in the morning. This is a quick sidebar. I'm going to be real quick with it. And if you guys want me to expand, I'll expand greatly on Wednesday night. Because Wednesday night, we can come on at 10 after AEW and NXT goes off. And I don't mind giving you guys a 2-hour show and all that. Let me say this real quick, because we talked about this whole Brock Lesnar thing Sunday night when I was covering Survivor Series. And I would definitely recommend you guys go back, check that out, right? But one of the things that I touched upon was, as far as Brock Lesnar goes, okay, does Brock Lesnar now go back to SmackDown? Because remember, he quit SmackDown. So for the sole purpose of feuding with Rey Mysterio for the championship, right? So now that that's over, is Brock Lesnar now going back to SmackDown? And if Brock Lesnar is going back to SmackDown, all right, well, now essentially you got two champions over on SmackDown, right? And then, like, when you really stop and think about it, given the current climate that's happening right now, fresh off the Survivor Series, I mean, as great, I won't say great, but as decent of an episode tonight's Monday Night Raw was, Raw is essentially still without a World Heavyweight Champion. And for that to not be addressed at all tonight, like, what the hell? So this makes watching SmackDown this coming Friday even that more interesting, and trying to figure out, okay, so what is next for Bray Wyatt now that he's defended the Doritos Championship, the Doritos Cool Ranch Championship, as I dubbed it. What's next now, right? Is it Brock Lesnar, right? And I offered my 2 cents from a distance. I said, if I was setting this up, honestly, you got Royal Rumble right around the corner. Why not have Wyatt and Lesnar champion versus champion? Why not go there, right? That's an idea. If you want to maybe merge both titles and let there be a fighting champion going basically to both brands or whatever and defending, you could do that, right? Honestly, there's so many titles as it is, and I lost track. I remember on this show earlier this year with the introduction of the 24/7 title, I think we had said there was 18 or 19 WWE championships active currently. So it's like, yeah, if you want to maybe pull one of those back, that's fine, right? But that's about as far as I'm going to comment anymore about that. I expanded a lot further on the Survivor Series post-show, but that's basically the bullet points in a nutshell. So you guys got to forgive me if this is something that's brought up again. I'm just going to be like, listen to Sunday and Monday this past week, and go from there. So
this coming Friday SmackDown should be interesting when it's all said and done. The Charlotte Flair Asuka match, that was good. Love that one. I love seeing my girl Kairi Sane being a little bit of a of a nuisance to Charlotte Flair in there. Once again, the Miss coming into play, second night in a row, right? I mean, what are the odds? You get two nights where Charlotte gets sprayed in the face there, right? I mean, she's got to be used to getting sprayed in the face by now. But that was a good match. You know, giving me a little bit of flashbacks from their time in NXT a little bit. Definitely brought back a lot of memories when Charlotte was this unstoppable beast of a woman when she came up to the main roster. And, you know, it's kind of nice seeing how everything kind of came back full circle and everything for Asuka right now. But this numbers game is proving a bit much there for Charlotte. So how is Charlotte going to even up the odds here with regards to Asuka and freaking Kairi Sane, you know? And I forgot the person I had mentioned on I think it was the Survivor Series post show. I forgot who it was that I had said could possibly team up with Charlotte to maybe balance out the odds and maybe eventually go for the tag team championships. I'll have to rely on you veteran listeners and watchers to jog my memory a little bit, because my memory right now is a little bit fuzzy. I will probably most likely remember as soon as we go off the air. Matt Hardy was in action. Nice rare appearance. We saw him losing effort, but he lost in style to my man Buddy Murphy. Buddy Murphy was spoiling. You know, one thing though, sidebar. I thought it was interesting that Buddy Murphy comes in with not one knee strike to the face, not two, but three knee strikes to the face. And yet, Buddy Murphy is the one that's ending up bleeding from his nose, like really bad. I just kind of got a little bit of a kick out of that. I was happy, at least the way it appeared. His nose is not broken. He just got hit kind of wrong and he was bleeding. But we see him call out Aleister Black once again, spoiling for a fight and everything, and they threw it down for a hot second. Aleister Black getting the upper hand with his trademark kicks and everything. Murphy didn't want to have anything more to do with that. I'm just glad that we're finally in this position where Aleister Black is no longer in some dark freaking cellar somewhere and doing that whole knocking on heaven's door routine. You know, get him out there, you know, let him fight. There's no reason to see a guy like that just continue to cut these same redundant promos over and over again. That's not really connecting with the WWE universe. Seeing him go out there and kick somebody's goddamn head off of their shoulders, that's what's going to get them connecting with the fans, right? That's how you get the guy over, because he's a phenomenal freaking talent, without a shadow of doubt. Other than that, line of the night, I got to give it to Jerry the King Lawler. During the Charlotte Flair Asuka match, King said, "I'm sure last night when Ric Flair was looking down on his daughter," or he said something along the lines of, "I'm sure last night Ric Flair was looking down on his daughter." Vic Joseph catching that ASAP, saying, "King, Ric Flair isn't dead yet." King just had no way to get up out of that hole he dug himself in. For me, that was the line of the night. I'm hearing this, I'm going, God damn, Jerry, do you know something we don't know, brother? Like seriously, what is going on there, man? Great stuff. But no, you know, Raw tonight was rather decent, but you know, once again, that whole problem there where Raw is without a champion right now. Right? I would have, maybe after the holiday break, maybe we're going to kind of get a little something of a follow-up, you know, as far as what's going on with the current status of Raw not having a real champion. You know, is the USA executives breeding down people in charge of Raw to scramble and kind of like get this resolved already because they want their own respected World Heavyweight Champion too for that show. Yeah, this is stuff that I was talking about a couple of weeks ago. And so to be at this point where we are right now, it'd be one thing if you said, well, this week's Raw was a throwaway episode because of the holiday week and Nah, it really felt as though they actually tried to make a little bit of an investment in quality for tonight. I mean, right down to the point, you even had the fans chanting for CM Punk. And I love how Seth Rollins had countered. I mean, and I'll give Seth Rollins credit in this regard. The old Seth Rollins, when he would get owned by the crowd, yeah, yeah. You know, he would just be rocking his head back and forth and shit. And it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I see you smirking. I see you cracking on, you know. But, you know, where's your witty comeback? You know, don't let them hijack your segment. That was my whole thing is, you know, you guys that are going out there, you're cutting these promos. It's like, that's the last thing you want to do. Don't give these guys control of what is supposed to be your moment. This is your time to fucking shine. Own that motherfucker. Whether you're a face or a heel, own it. Play off of them. Use it to your advantage. And, you know, it was nice to see Seth Rollins, you know, almost instantly, you know, hey, I tried, guys. He's hearing the CM Punk chants. I tried, guys, but you know, he's not interested. I tried to say and do everything to get him to come here in this ring for you guys, but he's not interested. He wants to be in Los Angeles on his little show in the studio and talk about how the business should change when he could be right here making it change. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. Nice stuff right there. Like that little nod, right? But yeah, you know, decent episode of Raw. I give them credit. They tried to make the moves in, you know, if you missed it, you kind of paid for it because here's what's going on, right? And this is the other thing that I want to say, by the way. WWE, I don't know if many of you guys had caught this, but this weekend, WWE is going to be doing their Starrcade event. You know, this is something that they do yearly and everything. I looked at this and I said, oh my God. Like, you know how many people are going to be with family and all that this weekend? And I looked at that and my girl said, are you going to be covering this? I said, no, I'm not covering it. No, it's like after all of the shows that I did this past weekend, no, I'm going to enjoy my Thanksgiving little mini break. If I end up watching it, it will be basically after my little mini vacation is over. But yeah, it's going to be going down this Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on the WWE Network. So actually, let me see too. And I find that so interesting. So we hear about this event and yet we don't know what the fuck the card is, right? You're like, okay, so what's the card? We don't even know what the card is. And I'm actually going to try to see if I can find the card for you guys right now here in the way it is looking. Yeah, and this is going to be happening down in Georgia at the Infinite Energy Arena. Right now, this is your card. We got 8 matches total. We got Rusev taking on Bobby Lashley, which reminds me, interesting segment from Raw tonight. Rusev had came to Illinois, came to the arena, got served with his restraining order, right? He didn't give a damn. Bobby Lashley had a match against Titus O'Neil. Lashley coming out on top of that. Rusev attacks Lashley, beats the living tar out of him. Action goes up to the end over the ramp area where Rusev kind of does a shoulder tackle. He falls off of the structure and all that. I mean, Rusev just essentially snapped when it was all said and done. And smart for WWE this week to have Lana be in a backstage segment, basically a pre-produced segment, talking with Charlie Caruso and everything. Yeah, that's how you're going to maybe have to do her from here on out. And if you do have her out there live in front of the crowd, less is better because she has proven that she can be overthrown by a hostile crowd that particularly does not care for the story arc. So maybe it's for the best that she's kind of doing these pre-production roles until she can get a better grasp at really owning the opportunities there when it comes to being in front of the live crowd. Practice makes perfect. She's coming along though. I will definitely say that much. She's coming along. But I don't have anything else to say about that whole segment. I'm still in that majority. I'll be happy when it's over and done with. Let's keep going here. So your card for Starrcade: Rusev taking on Bobby Lashley. New Day takes on the Revival. It's a tag team match for the SmackDown tag titles. That's good shit. AJ Styles takes on Kevin Owens. Shinsuke Nakamura and Sami Zayn take on The Miz. Apparently, this is a handicap match for the WWE Intercontinental title. Kabuki Warriors take on Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. This is for the Women's Tag Team Championship. And interesting enough, there was no Becky Lynch in action tonight. Not that I recall. So, yeah, if you were going to have anybody come out maybe to kind of help out Charlotte Flair, you know, you could definitely go in the Becky Lynch direction. I'll be so glad when Nia Jax, Ruby Riott come back. I miss the hell out of those girls tremendously. Roman Reigns takes on King Corbin. And The Fiend, Bray Wyatt, defends the Universal Championship against Braun Strowman. So that is your card for Starrcade this coming Sunday. Sunday. Look, the whole Mauro Ranallo Corey Graves situation, I had talked about this at great length on Patreon for our Patreon members and I saw a couple of people that were, hey, where's the NXT TakeOver review? And I'm going, okay, they don't know. That's fine. But we haven't done a free NXT TakeOver since April of this year, I think. Any takeovers that I normally do, those are Patreon exclusives, as well as some other bonus audio and video content. So for those of you that were, you know, maybe in that small majority that were looking for the NXT coverage, now you know what was going on. But I talked about this whole Mauro Ranallo situation at great length, and it doesn't really appear that there's any new developments that has transpired as a result of when I initially was talking about this, because I did not see NXT TakeOver initially Saturday during its first run because I was busy watching Wild Women of Wrestling, getting ready to do the recap show on that. I didn't end up checking out TakeOver until earlier today. And look, when it's all said and done, I will say this. This is something new that I'm going to say, but I don't want to say too much because I don't want to rehash what I've already done for Patreon, right? But let me add this new wrinkle into the mix and everything. I find it interesting that Corey Graves is, of all people, and this is where things get a bit inconsistent. I respect the hell out of Corey Graves as far as the great work that he does as a color commentator. I appreciate his wittiness. His timing is always impeccable. I love how his brain is it's always on, right? He's very quick on his feet. But I find it interesting that, you know, he takes these shots at CM Punk, right? You know, you don't know how to pick up the phone. You know, you're not really a best friend. He's airing out all of these personal problems on social media, right? He takes a massive shit on the boys for how they opened up their mouths and was talking about this whole plane situation in Saudi Arabia, making up fake stories and all this other stuff, and right down to the point saying, you know, if you guys don't like what's going on with certain things, there's no reason for you guys to get on social media. You know, freaking go talk to the bosses, you know, plain and simple, you know, but like we all had to deal with this. You guys weren't the only ones, you know, shut up already or whatever. All right. So you're seeing him act like this on these fronts, you know, and it's kind of like, okay, we'll lead by example. And yet to go in the direction that he went into, revolving around Mauro Ranallo, you know, it's a bit unsettling, assuming that the reports are true and Mauro had took his Twitter down and all that because of the comments he found out about Corey Graves. As a person that has battled depression off and on over the years, as a person that deals with bipolar, you know, I have my moments, and The last time I had like my most heaviest was when Chris Cornell died. I wouldn't speak to anybody. I wouldn't eat. I was just for like 5 days. I mean, it was just, and like I was saying on Patreon, like for me, I haven't had it in a long time, and I usually try to do my best to make sure that, I'm okay. And part of that is, and I didn't know this until I was officially diagnosed, but, we're kind of thinking that maybe for at least almost the past 10 years, maybe almost 15 years, I've had uncomplicated type 2 diabetes. And so when you're not taking really good care of yourself through proper nutrition, dieting, and all that, and then add on top of that, you're bipolar, yeah, you're probably going to have a lot of, and so I've done a lot better, but the way I can describe it, every single person that has a bipolar disorder, it's entirely different. Mauro's is much escalated. It's much more than what I deal with. What I will typically deal with, I could be laughing, I could be cracking jokes with people, and I could be having a grand old time. And then all of a sudden, I just shut down. All of a sudden, I don't want to be bothered. All of a sudden, I'm extremely quiet. I'm going off to a corner in the other room, and I just want to be left alone. It's just a switch. It just feels like somebody just turned it on, and it's like, you just gotta let me be. You gotta let me figure out my way of getting out of that. And it used to always, well, back then my friends didn't know. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but my friends would just, what the hell is going on with this dude? Some relationships I was in, what the fuck is going on with this guy, right? And I tell you, I'm glad I'm okay now. I'm now that I know what the hell's been going on with me, I'm managing it a lot better. I haven't had one of those type of situations there. Oh, God, not since Chris Cornell. I've been okay since Chris Cornell, and Chris Cornell died in 2017, and I've been okay ever since. Knock on wood. For a guy like Mauro Ranallo, his is much. He's got a worser case of bipolar. And I will say this, just to be devil's advocate. And these are the facts, people. So you don't have to, you don't have to like some of the things that I say, but there's no denying that what I'm saying, as far as key points, it is without a doubt fact, which is this. What Mauro said was not a form of bullying. Show me in that tweet that he put out where he called maybe Mauro Ranallo an idiot, or he called him a dumbass, or he called him an unprofessional, or he called him a hack. Find me some type of a word in that tweet in which Corey Graves was being a bully. And furthermore, understand the definition of the word bully. You'd be surprised. There were so many people that were throwing that word all around, all weekend, going into today, about how Corey Graves was what Corey Graves was doing was trying to offer constructive criticism. That doesn't mean he's exempt. Please make sure you're hearing me out. That does not mean he's exempt. What should have happened, he should have, after the pay-per-view event was over, he should have quietly spoke with Triple H or Michael Cole. Hey man, I was noticing XYZ going on with Mauro. What's going on with that? Or if him and Mauro are tight like that, call him up on the phone. Hey man, I'm just kind of wondering, you're okay? Because, you kind of talked a little bit more than, blah, 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 blah. Bullying. This is the definition. Bullying is the use of force or threat to abuse, aggressively dominate, or intimidate. The behavior is often repeated and habitual. One essential, I don't know how to pronounce that word. Let's skip it. By the bully or by others of an imbalance of physical or social power. All right, you're with me so far. This imbalance distinguishes bullying from conflict. Bullying is a subcategory of aggressive behavior categorized by the three following minimum criteria: hostile intent, imbalance of power, and repetition over a period of time. Bullying is the activity of repeated aggressive behavior intended to hurt another individual, physically, mentally, or emotionally. So, where in that tweet did Mauro Ranallo act like a bully to did Corey Graves? Where in that tweet did Corey Graves act like a bully to Mauro? I'm just curious. Like, if you want to say, hey, although it's a form of constructive criticism, it's a form of constructive feedback, you know how fragile this guy is. Come on now. Like, surely you've seen his Showtime documentary. Why would you even say this on social media knowing that he practically reads everything? Like, are you thinking? Are you thinking at all? Like, what the hell is going on here? And he's not exempt. Corey Graves is not exempt from that. He really should have spoken with Michael Cole. He should have spoken with Paul Levesque, or if he was tight with Mauro like that, he should have reached out to him privately and, been like, hey, here's the other thing though. And you can tell who's faithfully been watching the NXT product. I don't mean since it's been on the USA Network. I'm talking way before it even hit USA. You can tell who's faithfully been watching the NXT product, even right down to the NXT takeovers. You know why? And I'm one of those people that has been faithful. Even though I maybe will miss a couple episodes here and there, when it comes time for them takeovers, guaranteed, I'm catching up on at least the last 2-3 months that I missed. I'm binge watching typically on the weekend that they're doing a takeover event. And I can tell you, for as long as this current NXT team of Mauro, Phoenix, and Nigel has been in place, early on, sure, Mauro took the leads a bit more and he was kind of guiding them in there and everything. Now you look at where they're at, they can carry their own workloads. And you've seen that respectfully. They've been given many opportunities to shine, from Nigel, NXT UK, to Beth Phoenix, having a spot where she got to color commentate on Raw, a couple of other things, right? So, I mean, they've been given their opportunities, and when they've been given those opportunities, they've been able to shine, right? Anybody that has watched faithfully episodes of NXT, that has faithfully watched episodes of NXT takeovers with this current team that's in place, will tell you, nah, Mauro, he tries to do his best to get them in there. And if you're really watching and paying attention to the color commentating, many times you will see Mauro physically turn himself looking either at Nigel or Beth, and he's talking in a way like he's having a conversation with them, and he's trying to get them in there. And I have seen and heard with my own 2 ears many times where they are, they'll sometimes fumble with something, and Mauro will he will let them work it out. And if he feels like they're fumbling a little too much, then he jumps in. Very apparent with this past weekend's takeover. So this whole notion about Mauro is power talking. No, Mauro, just enough. They get in there. And when they say something that's really freaking, Mauro goes out of his way. And you could tell legitimately he is excited that was a really good, you can tell, because he'll compliment the hell out of them, right? So, this whole thing about, he's power talking over them and all this other, it's like, you're not really watching the product like we are. I even saw people that were saying, he's doing too many rap references. I'm like, what? I'm seeing this before I watched TakeOver earlier today. I'm like, wait a minute, what? He's doing too many rap references. Like, the hell are you guys talking about? And I'm usually taking notes with my tablet anyway. He did a Chuck D reference. One point during TakeOver, there was an acknowledgement of some rapper that was in the house, so they acknowledged that. There was an acknowledgement for Baby Yoda, which obviously, if you got Disney Plus, you know what that's about. Okay, Baby Yoda, yay. Then he referenced Tower of Doom, right? And you're like, okay, well, what's this about rap? Like, I was expecting like every 5 minutes of hearing Mauro Ranallo, you know, didn't have to use my AK. Today was a good day, you know. Let me holler at you. Throw your hands in the air if you're a true player. Like, I'm expecting to hear him do like this whole, you know, Rappers Delight and some other shit. So my point is, people, goes back to what I've been saying initially off and on this year. Goes back to what I've been saying off and on the past couple of years, which is this, which is society runs off of impulse. Before one can even, well, let me take a step back and let me actually do my own research and let me come to my own respective conclusion. Everybody wants to, if it's popular, they'll jump in on it. They haven't done no research yet. They'll jump in on it. And, you know, it's telling you, man, this culture today, we really got to do a better job in enlightenment and making sure that before we're getting ready to speak about something, that we've done our cross-referencing and all that, and we know what the hell we're talking about, and we're coming in with the facts. You know, I will say this, though, just to be devil's advocate a little bit. Mauro's style is not for everybody. Some people may not like that whole, man, why does every single goddamn match have to feel like it's got like this end of the world type of pay-per-view feel to it, and man, I'm watching an episode of NXT, and man, does it have to be, you know, his style, his execution in it, and some of his references. It may not be for everybody, right? Same thing like Booker T. So many people like Booker T. Booker T's style is not for everybody. Lord knows Renee Young and Michael Cole, not for everybody. You're never going to be able to please everybody. I should know. I've been doing my podcast since 2011. My podcast is not for everybody, right? I love when I get people that say, your podcast sucks. And it's like, well, dude, you've got like about, my God, at least over 100K fucking podcasts that just happen to cover wrestling and other shit. You are more than welcome to go check out those other shows. Nobody is pointing a gun to your head going, you're going to listen to my goddamn podcast, damn it. You're going to stay here for the entire 90 minutes, 2 hours until I get done talking about all these great things happening in wrestling this week. Yeah! You know, it's nothing like that at all. So... you know, you gotta, first off, in any profession, you know, don't be trying to please other people, because the minute that you try to please other people, you're gonna lose yourself in the process when it's all said and done. You know, it's the truth. It's the truth. You're never going to be able to find your own identity as a result if you're always trying to please other people. So, you know, I hope that something like this we never hear about again. I would be just totally okay with it, honestly. But, you know, nobody really, there is no winners here. Everybody's doing the whole Team Mauro. Everybody's doing the whole Team Graves. And there's no winners in this one. Nobody wins in this one. Just let it go. Just move on. The holidays are here. Move on to bigger, better things and loved ones, puppies, lots of cake, pumpkin spices and lattes and all that other good shit. Yeah. One other thing, couple other things I want to get into while we're still on the air here. Real quick, this Tuesday's WWE Backstage, Triple H is going to be on the episode. He is going to be appearing, I think, via satellite from the Performance Center. Now, CM Punk will not be on that episode. WWE on Fox Twitter account, they've already made the announcement that Punk will not be on that episode, even though he is essentially a regular host that is just going to be appearing from time to time. He's not going to be on that episode. And, you know, hey, Convenient, right? I mean, kind of rightfully so, considering some of the things that he said. All I can picture when I think about CM Punk and you throw the name Triple H at me, I'm thinking about the infamous part during the Cocabana podcast where Punk is saying, yeah, and he just looks at me, with that cockeyed, side-eyed look, and he, kind of tilts his head down, and he's kind of, looking at you like you're stupid. That's all I'm picturing when I hear Triple H, WWE backstage, and I'm just picturing CM Punk talking and Triple H with that damn look that Punk is talking about. Alberto Del Rio, aka Alberto El Patron, he's getting ready to throw it down in regards to a MMA fight. He's got an MMA fight that's going to be coming up, but he also had took the time out in a recent interview to put over my girl Thunder Rosa. For you Wild Wrestling fans, you know her under a different name and everything, because she is training to make the transition from pro wrestling to MMA. And her first MMA fight is going to be for Combate Americas. And El Patron, he said this. He said, you have to turn off the pro wrestling switch and start throwing punches 100%. I give her a lot of credit. She's been wanting to do this for quite some time, and it's not easy for someone that was in the pro wrestling business and just from one day to the other make the transition to MMA. It's really difficult. Some people know this, some others don't, but for me, it wasn't that way. I started in amateur wrestling and I competed for many years in tournaments all around the world, and then I became a pro wrestler. Pro wrestler to MMA, MMA back to pro wrestler. I know she's going to do a fantastic job in San Antonio, my hometown. She's been training for this for many months. We have been supporting her as athletes in the company with Campbell and everyone else. I'm pretty sure she is completely off the pro wrestling switch and started training because this is MMA and everything goes. And if you're following Thunder Rosa on social media, you know she has been taking the training rather seriously. I mean, homegirl is shredded. She's got like a 14 pack that's going on right now. Homegirl is shredded like I don't know what, and drastically different from what you see of her physically from WoW and all that. So, it really seems as though she is taking it very, very seriously. So I hope that goes well. And look, if that's going to be streaming on Fight TV, I'm definitely going to be checking it out. Like, whoever's going to be streaming it, I will definitely watch that. I definitely will. One other thing I want to get into here, Kelly Klein. And I see we're about at the 1 hour, little like 7-minute mark. So this should take us to about the 1 hour, 15-minute mark, and we'll pretty much wrap up from there. So look, Kelly Klein, if you're a Ring of Honor fan, this isn't good. This is not good. You want to talk about a rough week in pro wrestling last week. The stuff with Jim Cornette, the stuff with ROH, right? WWE to a certain degree, they kind of had their own little black eye there. But this stuff with Kelly Klein and Ring of Honor, it has just taken a life of its own. And things are really bad when Newsweek, a major publication, gets involved, picks up on this story. And I highly would encourage many of you guys to, this is something that I've been following ever since Joey Mercury first started opening his mouth. And I remember when things were really starting to warm up, not last week, but the week before that, you're like, And, Joey Mercury, he's been releasing personal info on ROH talent on social media. And mind you, some of these people, he got their permission, but there were other people that he did not get their permission from, which is detrimental, because if you're trying to get a job in pro wrestling and you're trying to get something in a management position, right, as far as the confidentiality agreement goes and everything, that is sacred. And so for Joey Mercury to, jump out there, putting other people's business out there without their permission, that is not cool. That is not cool. Now, Kelly Klein, he did get permission from her and everything, and revealed some of her problems that was going on with the company and everything. And she actually was very vocal. And keep in mind, she is the current Ring of Honor Women's Champion. But pretty much after this year is over and done with, she is basically going to be without a contract. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a hot second. But she backed up some of Mercury's claims. Excuse me. And she's basically saying that all she's trying to do is stand up for herself and other talent overall and just wants improvement. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. And a lot of people have been bashing her on social media left and right. You really should be having this in-house. What the hell? You know, what's wrong with you? Da 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 da. You know, and to her credit, you know, she said, look, you know, not for nothing, but I did take my grievances. I did take my concerns to management. And I told them everything that was going on. And it all fell on deaf ears. And her husband, BJ Whitmer, who's a former Ring of Honor star, he's now working behind the scenes with AEW and everything. He had confirmed on social media that his wife, Kelly Klein, was released or being released by ROH. And check this out, not by a phone call, not in a face-to-face meeting, not even text message. No, via email. She's being released from the company, right? And keep in mind that the person that had initiated all of this, letting her go and all that, is the Ring of Honor COO, Joe Koff, right? And also keep in mind that she is still suffering from post-concussion syndrome. She suffered this in October. Now, this isn't the first time that she's had some type of an injury while working for Ring of Honor. She had suffered another injury sometime last year, if I remember it right. It was right before or around last year's WrestleMania that she had suffered an injury, right? But yeah, she suffered this latest injury sometime in October. She had got a concussion and everything, still suffering from it, right? So Joey Mercury, he posts the exchange that went down between Kelly Klein and Koff and everything. And, you know, you're like, wow, like, what the hell? You know, so she wants nothing but change. She wants better for the company. And she's tried to express her concerns and everything. And this is essentially how you do her. You pretty much kick her ass as you're showing her the door, basically. This makes Ring of Honor, particularly this makes Joe Koff, look very, very bad. Now, her contract is going to be up at the end of December of this year. Now, home in on this. This is where the contract stuff, this is where it gets a little tricky and interesting here. Now, if she was Honor, then automatically, in effect, would be a no-compete clause, right? She couldn't work for another company for X amount of time, right? But instead, what Ring of Honor, Joe Koff, decided to do is, you know, hey, look, we're going to go on ahead. We're not going to renew your contract. We're going to let it expire. And then, you know, you can go do whatever you'd like to do. You go your way, and we're definitely going to go our way and everything. And people were wondering exactly, okay, so what is going on? Was she fired? Is she being released? Is she walking away? What exactly is going on here? So she actually shed a little bit more light on this. She had said, for those, she said this on social media, for those who argue about the semantics about whether I was fired or released, I was offered 2 more years. That deal had made my 2019 raise wrapped up in it. Again, that deal had my 2019 raise wrapped up in it, which was pulled. So yep, pulled and expired, not fired. Whatever helps you rationalize. And she followed that up and she had said, I get it. People are getting defensive and lashing out because they can't dispute the facts and they didn't have the balls to speak up. Well, this woman did. And she followed it up with another tweet, heartbreaking. This is the problem. I could have taken the 2-year extension offer and huge raise, which also included the raise I was promised for 2019. I risked and lost all of it. I wanted it to be better for everyone, but hey, as long as you are okay, look the other way, right? So this is all all of the shit that had went down. And there was even a person by the name of Heather Ragsdale on Twitter. Heather Ragsdale on Twitter, she was offering her thoughts and best wishes to Kelly Klein this holiday season and everything, but she had her own personal shots to take at Ring of Honor COO Joe Koff, and she had said, I totally believe you guys on this because Koff once lied to my face at a Ring of Honor event. I'm still pissed my kids paid for the meet and greet and never got them after Koff assured they would do it after the show. I just let it go, but it always bugged me. Fight on, y'all. Now, Klein was very nice enough, openly responding to her and saying, hey, please DM me your address and your children's names. Thank you. And I actually did look up this Heather Ragsdale on Twitter, it was. And she has had her Twitter account since 2009. Very active. You could see the picture banner of herself and her kids. You can go look at her media, and it wasn't a bot in any type of way. This is a legit person. So, to hear how Ring of Honor, is operating with all of this. One other thing I want to add to this, Joey Mercury. Y'all know Joey Mercury, right? Y'all should know Joey Mercury. Joey Mercury is someone that used to wrestle in the WWE. He was paired up with Melina and Johnny Nitro, Johnny Impact. They were doing the whole Eminem thing and everything. And then he was part of J&J later on during that whole Seth Rollins run with the Authority and everything, right? And so he had been working for ROH for a couple of years after leaving WWE and all that. Whether he left at his own accord or he had ended up being released, that escapes my memory right now. But one thing that he did put out there on social media going into today here, because he put this out right before the weekend was up. He said, I got to get back to organizing all these facts for the article. I don't stop until resignations and apologies are tendered. What will it take to smarten you up? I reckon the next story is HR cover-ups of egregious sexual misconduct. And I love how he spelled out egregious, because he's basically got Craig. Craig is one of the high up management people there in ROH. He also mentions Joe as well about this whole sexual misconduct shit. And he basically says Greg and Joe apologize and resign Monday. So he's pretty much let the shots be heard that he's going to be releasing even more information. There was some type of a trolling account that was accusing him of using the N-word, multiple times and all this other stuff. And he was like, well, if I actually did in fact use the N-word, which I didn't, hey, look, I got no problem resigning. Well, he's already resigned, but he basically said I would have no problem resigning for, such poor misconduct, blah, blah, blah. And Joey, doing his own respected research, was able to determine that, well, wait a minute, didn't I set this account up for somebody, because this name looks oddly familiar? And so somehow he puts two and two together. This guy, you don't want to fuck with this guy. I would be scared to do email exchanges, text messages, and all that shit with Joey Mercury, because I got a piece of my facial hair in my mouth there. Sorry about that, guys. I would be scared to have exchanges with him, because this guy saves everything. So he ends up double checking, and he realizes that this Twitter account is associated to a Ring of Honor employee that he used to work with, that's basically on the defense, trying to do a smear campaign and making Joey look bad and all that. So he ends up sending how he set it up was he looked at that username on Twitter, and he basically tried to log in and just went, oh, well, I forgot my password. And so apparently you guys noticed that, maybe forget your Twitter password or whatever. You have two options. You can either have your temporary passcode sent to you via email, and it shows you a couple of little, all right, so it looks like your email begins with this and it ends with that, and you got the asterisks in between, or they can text you something to the phone. And so that's how he was able to determine, because the beginning of the email actually gave the guy away. So he bust his ass out real good. So yeah, that's pretty much where we stand right now with regards to what's going on with Mercury, and then what's going on with this whole Kelly Klein situation. I mean, look, this is unfortunate, but it comes with the territory. If you are going to talk bad about an employer, even if you are right, if you're going to talk bad about an employer and you're still working on their dime, as far as a contract extension, a raise, and all that other stuff, they gotta send a message, because it's like, okay, well, they lose either way when you think about it too, because, okay, well, if we pay this person, we give them their raise and all that, then one could kind of look at it as though it was some type of form of blackmail, and they're trying to do favoritism because they don't want to let this person go, yada 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 yada, right? And all of that might not even be true, but you get the point that I'm making. And then the other hand of it, it's like, okay, well, let's say we don't renew the contract and all that, and we just pretty much keep them where they are, and you're going to have all of that tension, and you've already got one person that is like a Kelly Klein in this case that's saying what she's saying, which basically, oh man, we don't need that spreading into the rest of the locker room. What the hell? Okay, well, we need to separate ourselves from this as much as humanly possible. And I think over the years, you've heard this be a recurring theme in ROH. You've heard this being a recurring theme in ROH way too many times, from when Jim Cornette was there, some of the problems that Austin Aries was having. I mean, it's just ongoing. And this just does not look good on so many levels. I feel really bad that Kelly Klein is actually getting a little bit of harassment online, people picking on her, and, why would you, out in the open. And I can definitely relate. I think many of us can relate to what she's going through right now, because many of us have been through that position where we've had some type of a job, we're busting our ass, we're doing it, we're working to the best of our ability, and yet, we got other people that's slacking. We're noticing things that's going on with management that we know is not right. And it's like, okay, well, let me take these concerns to management. Let me try to see if some changes can be made. And when everything falls on deaf ears, then you have a critical decision to make. Do you continue to just follow suit, stay in line, mind your P's and Q's, and just go with the program? Or do you put your foot down and just be like, okay, you know what? I'm done here. I'm just going to go, and next opportunity that I get, I'm going to go work elsewhere, right? And, it's not like Ring of Honor, has a Glassdoor or a Yelp or, some shit like that. Not that I'm aware of, not that I've even looked either, right? That'd be a fun project to look at. But this is bad, a bad look on so many levels, and it really just, in my eyes, it overshadows tremendously some of the decent talents that are there in Ring of Honor, but it also highlights the continuing problems that is going on from a management standpoint. You just go back to that show that they did at MSG. Yeah, they had help with New Japan and everything, but like, just when you thought like, man, after that great turnout at MSG, man, this is the beginning of something new. It's a new era for ROH. They're going to be going to bigger, better things, yeah. Then, the next handful of shows that they start doing, it's like, that's when the reality really settles in. And it's like, nah, you all ain't even close. And it's sad, because it's gotten to that point now where, and I'm with you, Gino, I'm hoping that after Kelly Klein's contract is up, I'm hoping that she goes to AEW. I just want Homegirl to go somewhere where she can be respected, where she can get everything that's coming to her and then some. Honestly, just so for a healthier marriage with her husband, BJ Whitmer, I hope that she's able to go in there with AEW, because I think she would do wonders for their women's division. And this is my advice to Kelly Klein, by the way. Nobody else mentioned this either. I want to say this before we get ready to wrap up. I know we went into a little bit of overtime, and I'm okay with that, because the last thing I wanted to do was just breeze on by this Kelly Klein topic, because I felt for her when I was reading this story, and I was like, I gotta talk about this. It's like, it's kind of bad enough I don't get to talk about ROH, and I love talking about some of their programs, some of the talents and everything like that, but like, this is something that, like, as far as one of the topics I was looking forward to talking about tonight on the show with you guys, this was definitely it. And that's this. And I hope my colleagues will jump in with me and agree with this and encourage her to do this. Kelly Klein, you're in a really cool position right here, because you're still the ROH champion. And if they want to operate the way that they're operating, if it was me personally, look, I would not even work anymore. Well, you can't work for ROH right now. But if they try to, we need the title back, man, I would say some type of bullshit ass line. Let my black ass, put me in that position. I will lie my ass off, and I will be like, nah, man, ain't no championship. I don't know where the champ. I would fucking, I'm telling you, I would tell me some fucking stories, and man, once I get in the clear, and if I can go come work for AEW or whatever, the Khan family will have my back. Them pockets deep. Watch me pop up on AEW with that championship belt. Watch me pop up on AEW with that championship belt. It's like, y'all gonna operate like that? Oh, you wanna play dirty like that? Well, two can play that fucking game. That is just downright fucking disrespectful. Downright disrespectful. Some people will say, yeah, but Lee, you can't really feel that bad, because these wrestlers, they might be getting like about $300, $400, $500. Okay, so if they're wrestling 2, maybe 3 times out of a month for that promotion, all right, so that's some good chump change or whatever, but essentially that's not helping you pay your bills. That's not helping you pay your mortgage and all that other shit. You got to somehow continue to stay cash flow positive, right? But for somebody that has done their respected part and trying to help put the company on the map and trying to help establish your women's division, if there was anybody that was worthy of, hey, this is somebody that bust their ass, put their blood, sweat, tears, made the sacrifices, all in the name of putting you guys over and everything, and this is how you're gonna fucking do them, like, what the fuck? And you're gonna let her go? You're gonna let her contract expire while she is still in a position where she cannot take care of herself employment wise? My God, say what you will about TNA, but they didn't even do that fucking shit. Anybody remember Jesse Sorsen? You go to WWE, how many times a motherfucker got injured in WWE, and like, when WWE could have just been like, okay, we're done with them. They're injured, we can't, let's just let them go. It's okay. Like, and they didn't do that. They did not do that. They like stayed with that person until they were 100% healthy, and then when it was, okay, so can we do anything with them? Or are they at least healthy? Yeah, okay, well, let's just go ahead and let them go. We can call up somebody else, no problem, right? I mean, god damn, you want to talk about unfucking professional, but I would expect nothing less from Sinclair Broadcasting. These are the same people. Arsenio Hall brought his show back, and man, it was off on all the right cylinders. It was like Arsenio never fucking left. And Sinclair Broadcasting, they were not willing to invest more money, to basically, help take the show to the next level, right? Arsenio had a decent, essentially first season run, if you will. He was doing his shows like The Tonight Show, like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel. He was rolling like that. They go on a freaking little break, given the word that you guys are going to be back, no problem, and they're already getting ready. they're getting ready from their little vacation for more episodes and everything, and they're getting the good word that, oh yeah, we're being renewed, we ain't got nothing to worry about. And then Sinclair Broadcasting just freaking pumps the brakes on them, and because ultimately they did not want to spend more money. You know, they had a couple of syndication partners that pulled out because they were like, it's really not making us a profit. So Sinclair Broadcasting, they could have easily been like, well, okay, well, you know what, it's doing okay. It just needs a little bit more muscle behind it. You know, let's see if maybe we can branch out a little bit more and see what we can do. Nah, after a couple of people had pulled out, like the tightwads that they are, because they got all that money, but you know, whatever, like the tightwads that they are, they pulled the plug on fucking Arsenio Show, and the rest is pretty much history, right? I'm not talking about the first go round. I'm talking about the second go round. In case you guys don't know, Arsenio Hall did have his show come back some years ago. This is while Prince was still alive and everything. Matter of fact, you should look it up. It was really good. He had Prince on for like the whole hour, and there was even some Q&As that the fans had did with Prince from the audience and all that. It was cool. It was like one of the most tightest fucking episodes. Arsenio was good, man. Like he would interview the folks from Operation Repo, Hardcore Pawn, not porn, Hardcore Pawn, Les Goldman and his son and all that. You know, the guests that he would get on this show, it was cool. It fit the right demographics as far as like, okay, you know, those that was watching those type of shows and maybe those that were kind of in the video games, but he also tried to show love to the old school folks as well. He tried to show love to the folks that were like 35 to 50 or whatever like that. So, you know, it's sad. I hope that things can change for the better for ROH. ROH in 2019, I mean, it's at that point right now where it is hardly on the tip of the tongues of wrestling fans. It is hardly on the tip of the tongue of coverage as far as wrestling media sites, as far as podcasts go and everything like that. And, you know, any truth be told relevance that ROH did have going for itself and everything, the relationship with New Japan Pro Wrestling, being able to work with Cody, the Young Bucks, and, you know, insert this name here. And now that basically all of those guys basically gutted themselves from those promotions and it's like, we're going to go do our own fucking thing. You know, it's like, okay, so what do you really have to offer? You know, seriously, like, what do you really have to offer? And it's sad. I remember I watched a episode of ROH and I'm seeing Angelina Love and some other people running around, and fucking Matt Taven is the fucking ROH champion, and I'm just like, this ain't the fucking ROH I remember from maybe 2 years ago or whatever. Like, what the fuck is this shit that I'm watching, you know? It's really sad what it's become. It's really, really fucking sad. You know, the one guy, Jay Lethal, you're going, man, if there's ever a guy, you should just keep the fucking championship on him. Everything good. Okay, Jay Lethal. And, you know, you fuck that up, right? You know, you're one loyal freaking guy, no matter what has gone on with your company over the years. The guy has continued to stay loyal. And, like, I'd be here all night talking about ROH, but it's quite fucking sad what's become of that promotion. For a promotion that gave us the likes of Nigel McGuinness, CM Punk, Daniel Bryan Danielson, Colt Cabana, oh my God, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, man, ACH, Caprice Coleman, Leo Rush, man, Bloodbound Warriors. I mean, list just goes on and on and on and on and on. Briscoes, man, it's sad what's become of that goddamn promotion. Like, I cringe sometimes when I look at it. I legitimately feel like I'm gonna shed a tear watching that goddamn promotion. It's that goddamn bad. All right, so on that note, we're gonna end it. Yeah, see, I was nice to you guys. I said we were gonna do a hard 115. But you saw, I'm nice. I know how to be nice. I'm in a holiday giving spirit and everything. So take it, love it, learn to love it. Next episode, Wednesday, We're going to be coming on after NXT AEW goes off the air. Meanwhile, if you haven't done so already, please be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes. We did, just to recap, we did the NXT TakeOver review. That's for our Patreon members. Shout out to our Patreon members, by the way. Shout out to Sean Kenter, Justin Repstock, Anthony Missionary Thomas of Wrestling Soup. Shout out to Joe Raymond Jr. Shout out to Freddie. Shout out to Tony Bean Gaming. Shout out to Michael Wolf. Did I mention John Davis? I don't think I did. I usually like mentioning his name twice for the hell of it, but shout out to John Davis. Let's see. Who else am I missing from that? I think that's everybody. Shout out to our sponsors as well. We do have a couple of sponsors for tonight's episode. I do want to give a shout out to the beautiful and the lovely Jessie Martinez, who has her newest book, 52 Reasons to Live, Why Greatness Refuses to Die. The book is a weekly dose of encouragement if you're feeling sad, stressed, uncertain, anxious, and overwhelmed by the issues in life. The book is also full of encouragement for you or a friend facing difficult times, needing help finding the positive in the middle of the chaos in life. You can preserve, build courage, and grow in hope every week. Pick up your copy on Amazon, or you could visit the website aspireandreachformore.com. Check out that book and other books. Shout out to petfoodio.com. You pet lovers, I loved hearing back from these people that were like, Lee, we've got people, thanks to your unique URL, that's actually been downloading our Doggy Desserts cookbook. So please, whatever you're doing, keep it up. I'm like, okay, will do. Look, if you are a dog owner or you know somebody that is a dog owner, check this out. I have a free unique URL, which is petfoodio.com/RCWR Show. You can find it in the episode description, but for those of you that's watching the web stream, I'm posting the link in the chat right now for you guys here, and it's live now. There you go. Check that unique URL out. Now, if you're a dog owner and lover, or you know somebody that's a dog owner and lover, and you know they love spoiling their best friend, check out that URL, pass it along to them, because they can get a free doggy dessert cookbook. It gives 10 great doggy dessert recipes that you can make in your own home. It's got colorful pictures, easy to follow instructions, and the best part, guarantee your pets will love it, and they will love you for making it, and you will honestly love yourself for making such an awesome dessert for your pets. So check that out, petfoodio.com/the RCWR Show. Once again, petfoodio.com/RCWR Show. It's free. You get a free Doggy Desserts cookbook. Check that out. Appreciate those kind folks. Also, shout out to leafyassets.com. If you're a real estate investor or entrepreneur, they can help protect your business, and they can also help protect your assets, strategically grow your business and wealth. Check them out, leafyassets.com. Also, shout out to the good kind folks behind the movie President Evil. Check that out on Amazon. You got the trailer and the movie up for grabs over there on Amazon. If you like dark humor, political comedy, and all that mixed in one, President Evil, that is the movie for you guys to check out. So check that out when you guys get a chance. And yeah, that's all of them. All right, so yeah, Be Kind Rewind. Check out previous episodes. We got the WoW Season 2 finale recap. That's available on demand and on the downloads. We've got the Stone Cold Steve Austin Broken Skull Red Sessions review of Undertaker, that episode. You know WWE was loving the numbers for that, because you saw, I don't know if you guys saw the graphic for Raw tonight, but as Raw was going off the air, they had said in the lower right-hand corner that the encore was coming on immediately after Raw. You're like, oh, it must have been that good. So we did that. See, what else did we do? We got the NXT TakeOver War Games. That's up on Patreon. And then we just did this for you guys. So yeah, we'll be back Wednesday night. And we'll go out strong, and we will go out hard. For those of you that won't be joining me on Wednesday due to your traveling maybe for Thanksgiving, y'all be safe. And everybody else, yeah, come on back Wednesday. We'll be live after AEW and NXT. Get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And here is my sip to you of my red wine. I'm wishing all you all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. Adios. Ta-ta for now.